I'm not even doing the intro. We are just live right off the back. We're not doing the countdown. The Scotland squad for Euro 2020 has been announced. There is a video on the national team Twitter. I'm looking for it in just written form.
Man. It would be nice if they had it in written form, eh?
It is. They've given us a proper 4-minute video there. They're not making it easy for us at all. Quickly say hello to the chat before we get this sorted. Matthew Duff's there, John Christie, Sonic Jane Stooge. Well, okay, that's very rude, that comment. I'll just leave that there. Jai's in the chat. Troops, the team is out, says Matthew Duff. Somebody tell me what the team is. What's the squad?
Well, I'm sitting here trying to keep up with them in Kelvin Grove Art Gallery. They're trying to make it as difficult. Oh, that's quite cool. They're looking at the painting. So Craig Gordon, David Marshall, John McLaughlin. There's your three keepers. That's the first part of the video over and done with. So
Nathan Patterson is in the Scotland squad, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Apparently so.
Well, here's your defenders. You've got Stephen O'Donnell first off the list there. We all expected Stephen O'Donnell to go, of course. They're swinging a golf club now. Nathan Patterson.
Wow.
Patterson's there. Here's Tam Cowan, friend of the channel, and he's telling us our next player who is going to be, if it hurries up here, let's go, let's move. I think it might be Kieran Tierney that's getting announced next. Tam Cowan, of course, as he likes a chin wag, is taking his time. It is Kieran Tierney who is up next on the list. Cy Ferry. They're asking all these people, who else talks Scottish football? Surely we deserve it.
Exactly.
Andy Robertson has been announced by Cy Ferry and the guy. Oh, there's Mr. Mark Marley. By the way, Mark Marley. He's announced Declan Gallagher as the next man in Scotland's squad. That's a cool wee video, this. We're waiting now for the next one. So Dick Gallagher, and now we have
definitely in the squad.
Now we have Grant Hanley in the Scotland squad as well. Gordon Duncan of the Clyde One Super Scoreboard alongside Mark Wilson and Gordon DL asking one of the callers, and it's Liam Cooper who is up next. Nice. Liam Cooper in the Scotland squad, a name that we all expected, I think. Here comes John Mackay and Rahman, who are here to announce the next pick, and it's Jack Hendry. He's made it. I think Jack Hendry is the next name on the list.
Yeah.
I was skeptical.
Full written list here.
Oh, you've got a written list. Well, I'm enjoying. Oh, they've got Gogsy. They've got Gogsy and Cody announced one.
I'm fuming right now. I'm fuming.
I feel like we have been missed out entirely. Scott McKenna. Scott McKenna is the next player up. So there you go. There's Scott McKenna in the team. After he missed the last break, didn't he?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Next up, Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor's made it. He's been taken. A name that I think we all missed out yesterday. Darryl Curry, Chris Sutton, Ali McCoist, they are announcing the next player on the list, and it's David Turnbull. He's made it, lads. Yeah. David Turnbull in this.
Well deserved.
You love to see it. This is brilliant. This is a really good way to announce who is in this squad. So I'm very happy about this. And the next player up is, wait for it, John McGinn. John McGinn, of course, the talisman, Super John. He is there. He's made it. Right for the chip shop. So you love to see that. Next announcement, as we approach towards the end of the video, John Fleck, controversially.
Yay!
John Fleck on the list now. Talking about David Turnbull, here's Stuart Armstrong up next. Stuart Armstrong, and of course it could be revealed from no other place than the barber shop. His hair is fine, scores belters all the time. Next up, it is going to be. Who is it? They're taking their time with some of them. Some of them are quick. And there's the phone going. Oh, dearie me. It's Callum McGregor and Billy Gilmore. Billy Gilmore is going. Callum McGregor is also going. So there's two players that I think we all expected and wanted to see.
Right, let him get the phone. Kevin Nisbet's in the squad. Delighted. Said it all the time. Kevin Nisbet would be there. Lyndon Dykes is obviously in the squad as well. I don't know if he said James Forrest, did he? James
Forrest is in the squad, right?
Yeah, which is, if he's fit, not really much of a surprise there.
Ryan Christie and Ryan Fraser. Ryan Fraser making it after yesterday's doubt. So there's some good
Bruce won't be happy with that.
No, he will not.
I'm guessing Che Adams will be in there as well.
Lyndon Dykes is the next player that I'm currently seeing on my screen. So Lyndon Dykes, of course, after what was a very successful first season at QPR, and then finally, as you said, you expected it. Yes, Mr. Che Adams on the list as well, and I think that is our Scotland squad.
So McGinley, have you got the full list in front of you?
Yeah, I do. Do you want me to read them all?
You want to quickly run through the full list just for anyone who's just joined us?
Yep, no bother. So the goalkeepers are Craig Gordon, David Marshall and John McLaughlin. The defenders are Liam Cooper, Declan Gallagher, Grant Hanley, Jack Hendry, Scott McKenna, Stephen O'Donnell, Nathan Patterson, Andy Robertson, Greg Taylor, Kieran Tierney. Midfielders are Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Christie, John Fleck, Billy Gilmore, John McGinn, Callum McGregor, Scott McTominay and David Turnbull. The forwards are Shea Adams, Lyndon Dykes, James Forrest, Ryan Fraser and Kevin Nisbet.
Super. Now, lads, I'm not one for overreacting, but we're winning the fucking Euros.
Oh,
surely.
Yeah.
I just put on Twitter there, I was buzzing about seeing the Germany squad and how good that was, but fuck Germany, Scotland are winning this tournament now itself.
It's actually quite a good team, isn't it? You look at the names.
Did I hear Scott McTominay?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Scott McTominay.
I heard last night he'd taken I think he went off in the game last night with an ankle knock, so but I think
he's going to be crucial.
He is. I mean, wow. I have to say, the whole time I said that Steve Clarke wouldn't spring too many surprises. And, I think that, listen, if we're all honest with ourselves, the three youngsters that we all wanted to see and we all expected to see in were Patterson, Turnbull and Gilmore, and we've got them. Fantastic. That is a brilliant squad. I mean, if you look at where we were in 2017, 2018, with Alex McLeish in charge, players dropping out left, right and centre, nobody wanted to play for Scotland. We were hopeless. And now we're going to the European Championships with a very decent squad. With top players in there. Ryan, I'm absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, look, those three young lads that we all want to the team, I think we've all accepted they might not feature as much as we want to. I don't think we expect to see them being thrown into the starting lineup when we go to the Euros, but the fact they're there is a massive buzz. It's great to see the younger guys get a call up, and guys who've had a great season. Gilmore, is starting for Chelsea in the Premier League. Turnbull, Young Player of the Year in Scotland, and Nathan Patterson, who's been class in both the domestic and European stage for Rangers. So they're three guys that, if needed and if called upon, will make a massive difference for Scotland and their team in this Euros. I'm absolutely buzzing. I think that Clarke is knocked out of the park with that. I don't know if we expected that, but he's knocked out of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at Twitter, the reaction there is very positive. I was a little bit worried it might not be. Obviously, just think of the notable absentees. Liam Palmer's not in the squad, which is an interesting one. I don't think he's had a great season. And it's refreshing to see Patterson get the call up, because it's not very Steve Clarke-esque to do that. It's not really, because he's our second choice right back in the squad, isn't he? I mean, there's only O'Donnell and Patterson, so an injury to O'Donnell, and you're banking on Nathan Patterson playing for Scotland, which is interesting. Lee Griffiths, of course, is not included, which I'm absolutely delighted about. He doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the squad, so that's fine by me. Lawrence Shankland as well, which is another one who, been in and around the squad, hasn't made it. No Andy Considine, boys. No Andy Considine. That's the
shame.
No good game. But we'll still take his song, but we just won't take him.
He can just get my job as like the kit man or something for the Euros.
He'll be an open goal pundit. Watch this.
Get him down as the mascot or something like that. Get him down there in the suit. Get him dancing on the sideline. And look, one notable absentee that we all knew was going to happen, but I just want to talk about even more. Ollie McBurney, he's not there at the Euros. No, but look, it's a shame for the guys who have missed out. In all honesty, it's a shame for the guys who have missed out, because, yeah, of course, sometimes form dictates you can't get there and maybe you're not good enough. But a lot of guys who worked hard as part of the Scotland squad over the past few years. Liam Palmer's been in there for a long time. Shankland came in and out. Griffiths, who was at one point Scotland's main man. These are guys who would have liked to have been there. But, there's been players who are far more deserving. And I'm glad that Steve Clarke has done the right thing and picked the players who are playing well over the sentimentality.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the defenders, especially, constantly missing out in terms of centre defenders. Apart from that, they kind of picked themselves, I think. I mean, I knew fine well that with Hendry and Hanley being in the last squad and both playing, they would be in. That wasn't much of a surprise. McKenna and Cooper both fit. They were always going to go. And I remember like a few months ago, well, maybe a year ago, I should say, we were looking at the centre backs and thinking, Christ, who are we going to play at centre half? Now we've got options that are relatively decent now. Tierney's going to be probably left-sided centre-half as well. So even just looking over the squad now, you would worry defensively and up front. And now I'm looking at those two areas and thinking, we're actually doing quite well in there.
Yeah.
McGinley, I'm so positive there. I'm buzzing. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, I feel like this will just perk everybody up. Everybody will be buzzing for the start of it now. I think we've got loads of different options, especially up front. Get totally different strikers. You get Lyndon Dykes, who's a target man who likes to bully defences, and you get Shea Adams that does the running, and Kevin Nisbet likes to do the running as well. He's a bit of a mixture of both. So
yeah,
we've got options all over the pitch, which is really good. I mean, there's people that can feel hard done by that they're not in the squad. But I mean, it's a great team.
Yeah, we're up at 77 viewers, which is fantastic for this time of the day. Get all your comments and all your reactions, any questions for the boys as we kind of joyously discuss this.
May I throw in a question for McGinley while we're here? Of course, Ryan, we've had great fun on the Celtic Defender this year talking about the anomaly that is Lee Griffiths and whether or not he's good enough to play for Celtic. Him not making the Scotland squad, number one, I can tell you're delighted. But number two, look at your face, you're dying to go, come on. But he's brought that kind of on himself this season, hasn't he, the fact he's not there.
See, the fact that he couldn't get up for a 10-in-a-row season, that he came back overweight after lockdown. I mean, it's just a bad attitude from the start. I mean, I know he's been playing bits and bobs, 20 minutes here and there, but a player should be ready to play 90 minutes, and he hasn't been this season. I mean, you look at him, he still looks unfit in May, June time. So, I mean, he doesn't deserve the call-up. There are players there that have been playing week in, week out, every week. Shea Adams is in tip-top condition, so is Nisbet and Dykes. There's no place for sentiment. You could say that with a number of teams, but there's no place for sentiment in this team with Scotland. You've got to pick the best people for the job, and those three are the best for the job. Yeah.
What the big thing for Griffiths for me is that it shows how much we've moved forward. Gone from, when the Euros were supposed to go ahead, we were all praying that Lee Griffiths would be in the squad. We needed Lee Griffiths. God, those days are long gone now. When we were picking our squad to that video yesterday, I was toying with another striker, and it was Lawrence Shankland I was toying with because, frankly, he deserves it a lot more than Lee Griffiths does. I actually was a wee bit surprised Shankland didn't get in because I just think we've mentioned the attributes of Dykes, Adams, and Nisbet. Shankland's very different to all three of those, but again, it's not going to suit the way we play. We're not going to have loads of the ball. We're going to rely on players holding it up, running channels, doing the dirty side of the work, and there's three strikers that can do that, and also three strikers that have got goals in them. So I'm delighted. Scott Doyle saying the only thing he's not happy with is no Sean Rooney in the squad. I mean, he would have been touch and go. Listen, the Patterson one, Nathan Patterson's a quality player. I'm amazed. That's the biggest shock for me. I mean, I think last night the kind of news broke, Ryan, that Turnbull and Gilmore would get the shot, but Patterson being in there is a big surprise to me. In terms of based on what Steve Clarke I expect him to do. Fitzsimons.
Oh, you're looking at me. I know I know you're usually referring to Ryan as McGinley, so I was like, I don't know, but then I heard Ryan nod away, and I was like, it's a shock to me as well. I was under the impression that if he was to take any, it would be Sean Rooney. And I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments now posing the question, should Nathan Patterson be our starting right back at the Euros? It could be. It very much could be. Look, I don't think that he is going to replace Stephen O'Donnell in that role because he's obviously very favourable of Stephen O'Donnell. They've worked together for quite a while through Kilmarnock and now Scotland. So I don't see him taking that role. And plus, I don't think Stephen O'Donnell's really put a foot wrong in a Scotland shirt. I've always thought he's done a solid enough job. But Patterson certainly gives a different option. It certainly brings a bit of excitement on that right-hand side. Well, you've got players now on both sides of the park who can really cause problems, both defensively and going forward. You've got Forrest on the right, you've got now Patterson on the right, and then you look at the left-hand side and you've got your Robertsons, your Tierneys, and you can even say maybe Ryan Fraser on such to an extent. We've got real quality over the park, and Nathan Patterson is one of the players who brings that. So I'm happy he's been picked. I must admit, I am happy. And we'll see what he does at the Euros. As I said at the top of the stream, we don't know how much time these younger guys will get, but if they do get time, they'll certainly make a difference, all three of them, and he's one of them.
Yeah, the Patterson one's really interesting because you've got 3 games in such close succession. I would imagine Nathan Patterson will play at the Euros then because I can't see Stephen O'Donnell playing all 3 games. Yeah,
I was going to say that. You'd suspect that maybe in the middle game that he would get a chance. You'd expect maybe O'Donnell to start off the when do we play England? Is that first?
Second.
Well, maybe not so much the middle game then. I think he might want O'Donnell for England. But you could maybe see Patterson then start the first game. You could maybe see Nathan Patterson, given that start, rest O'Donnell, keep him fit for England, and make sure we have our best team out there. Now, some people will be arguing that our best team contains Patterson over O'Donnell. But in Steve Clarke's eyes, let's be real, his best team has O'Donnell in it. So, a really good chance then for Patterson to maybe play the first or last game in that group stage. And especially, look, if we're down and out in the third game, which I don't think we will be, let's be optimistic. But in the case that we were down and out in that third game, it's one of those ones. Surely Patterson will get some time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just quickly before I come to you, McGinley, Michael Harrison with a super chat. What was saying that currency is? Australian dollars?
That would be Australian dollars, right?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. A jam tart down under, by the looks of things. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Either down under or he's fought for the laugh, I'll choose just a random currency.
Yeah, maybe. And just because Michael asked that, we're going to jump to the super chat next. Do you think McTominay will play centre back or DM now? Well, I don't think he'll play as the holder in the middle, but I do think he'll play in midfield. McGinley, or just with the injuries to Ryan Jack and Kenny McLean as well. And his form at club level, he's got to play in midfield. You'd imagine now.
I think he's an automatic starter, I'll be perfectly honest. You watch him for Man United strutting his stuff. What an improved player he's been over the past 2-3 years. He's become almost undroppable for Man United, the way he plays and the way he goes about his business. I really like him as a football player. I think he could be a captain as well, never mind Robertson. I think his passion for the club, or his passion for his country, that's not even... I mean, he's English, but he shows a lot of passion. It's amazing.
That's his Glaswegian Da. That's his Glaswegian Da going right through that.
This is the thing. I've said this a lot about Scott McTominay is English guys who play for Scotland get loads of stick, but you look back at the post-match celebrations from Serbia, nobody enjoyed that more than Scott McTominay did. He absolutely loves it, committed to the cause. And what I will say about him as well, I mentioned earlier about under Alex McLeish players dropping out and not wanting to play for Scotland. He was never one of them. He was always there, always available. Waited a while to get his chance for Scotland. He's got it now. And Ryan, I think we both agree with McGinley. He's a nailed-on starter.
Yep, absolutely. There was always talk before he get his Scotland call up if he'd get a call up for England, and he probably would have now in the past 2 or 3 years. But I think he prefers that sort of. He's got a spotlight at Scotland that he probably wouldn't get at England. He'd be just a part at England, whereas in Scotland he's one of the main parts of the team. He's a focal point.
See, that's the thing. Scott McTominay has developed that much as a player that for England right now, I could see him starting. You look at their midfield, they've got guys like Declan Rice, they've got guys like Calvin Phillips of Leeds. There's no telling me that Scott McTominay's not a bit. I think he's a better player than the two of them. And we've got him in our starting 11. So
yeah, I mean, certainly Jordan Henderson injured there's a place in there for him.
There would have been a spot in the team for him.
Yeah, I would have thought
England,
so. 100%
in
the squad. I don't know if this is our Callum Craig. I don't think it is. Is it our Callum Craig? It may be. Ryan, is that Callum Craig? Our Callum Craig? Oh, nice. Yeah. Why wasn't he on the show? I've got to deal with 2 Ryans. It's a nightmare. Right, strongest 11. Right, that is a video in itself. But it's not easy at all, is it, Ryan? No. Because I genuinely I was trying to do this last night, and there are so many. I can't find one I'm happy with. In terms of guys being left out on the bench, there's so many options we've got, Ryan.
Yeah, look, the squad is just filled with talent. We've been through that. I think we're very happy with that. Choosing an 11 is going to be incredibly difficult for Clark. Yes, he has his favourites. Yes, he has guys who want to keep in there. I've alluded already to the likes of Stephen O'Donnell. We'll expect to see him in. I think you can paint out a rough idea of what we should expect to see as the starting 11. But especially, with the situations that we've spoke about, McTominay, do you play him in defence? Do you play him in midfield? Who do you play up front? I mean, I'm suspecting it will be Christie and Dykes. But, who do you play up front? You've got so many options now. You've got so many good players who can really adapt to any game plan, I would say. That's the main thing. I think tactically we're going to be very, very well off at this tournament. I think there's players for every sort of situation. I think there's players for every form of formation they might want to play. There is such a lot that we can do with these group of players. So it is hard. It depends how you want to approach these games, who you start. That really is it for me. It depends how you go out. If you want to go out and play the way we usually do for a 1-0, or if you want to go out and attack the game. There's so many things we can do, so it's very difficult to paint out an 11.
There is, in the 3 games we have, there's next to no doubt in my mind we'll be playing, we'll be soaking up pressure, we'll be counter-attacking, we'll be using the strength we've got in the middle of the park. I think
as David throws away there, isn't it? We left to get that lovely face he's frozen.
I know. He's up for us.
Very
flattering.
Very flattering. Look, David was obviously going to go on and keep talking about the kind of quality in that team in there, Ryan. I don't know where he was going to eventually bring his point to end. We'll wait to see if he reloads back into the stream. A lot of people in the chat are talking about, the game against England, the second game in that group, and players that can do damage in that England team. I've been thinking about this the whole 20 minutes we've been live on the air. I've been thinking about this, and I look at our Scotland team and I go, that's not a team that I think can be battered by England. I think that's a team that can give England a very good game, and a team that can hold their own and perhaps go for something at Wembley.
Yeah, I think if you bring the passion side into it, It'll be a big game on its own, and I mean, there's players in the Scotland team that would get an England team now. That is it's a good position to be in. I definitely think we can give them a game. It all depends if they go with their youngsters or they play some of their older players. I think if they play their younger players, we've got a bit of a problem because they've got players like Mason Mount, they've got Mason Mount, Phil Foden, and all that. But if they play some of their older players, we've got a chance because we could run right over the top of them with our pace and our youthfulness as well.
Yeah, so Jordan Gray's giving it in the chat. There's me already jinxed it. Look, I'm not saying that we're going to go down to Wembley and take the 3 points at the home turf of the national team. But look, I really do think that when you look at what could be our best squad now, as we've already said,
I'm back. Don't worry.
We were just talking about the chance. A lot of people in the chat talking about the England game. I'll let you go back to your point in a moment, David, just to round off here. Look, I'm not saying we'll go down to England and, of course, beat them at Wembley. But what I'm saying is, if you paint out I think if anybody was to pick their best 11, it's certainly a team that can give them a good go. I'm confident of what we can do. Look, England's main advantage is that youthfulness in that side. You've got your Rashfords, you've got your Fodens, you've got all these players who can cause a lot of problems, especially with the pace of the squad. But look, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling a wee bit happy and confident about what we can do down there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that there are ways in which we can hurt that England team, and it's certainly not going to be trying to, play good football against them. Let's be honest here. We're not going to be sitting trying to play it out from the back. We're not going to be trying to, keep the ball and all that carry on. We'll do what we do well. We'll be, going quite direct at times, using the pace we've got on the side. We've got runners from midfield, and that's what we will see. I think we've seen a lot. Like when Dykes plays, he'll hold it, and immediately you've got McGinn bombing on, you've got McGregor bombing on, you've got Christie bombing on. When you do push forward, you've got to kind of make the most of those chances. And I genuinely feel, relatively confident that our defence can contain them for the large part. Listen, I don't think we're going to get hammered. That's what I will say.
Yeah, that's what we were saying just as you disconnected. This is a team that I don't see going down and getting battered. It's a team I think can hold their own and do something.
And I genuinely believe we can hurt them on the counter. I really do. I've said that a lot. Listen, I know John Stones had a good season. I know Harry Maguire's had a good season. But I don't care what anybody says. There are still frailties there in both of those players that you can take advantage for, especially when they're wearing an England shirt, because there is an added pressure, for these guys playing for England that, squads for England over the years just haven't been able to deal with.
You were giving it Southgate at tight last night on Twitter, I seen.
Mate, he's absolutely useless. How is he the England manager? I just find it laughable. They knighted the guy for beating Panama in the 90th minute.
See, after Mourinho was sacked, I was like, maybe Southgate would do a job at United, but I think I'm glad that ship sailed, to be honest.
Nonsense. He thinks Trent Alexander-Arnold's not good enough to play for England. Fucking what a clown. That does me down to the ground.
I'll tell you the player that I fear the most that might not go to the Euro.
Foden.
No, not actually Phil Foden. Jack Grealish. That is the player I fear the most. Right there.
Yeah, I mean those two are the ones that I worry about.
If Southgate decides to put his faith in him, I fear Grealish so much.
I think he was a no-brainer in the first half of the season, but obviously his injuries in the second half might have lost him his place. But if there's any player I'm fearing, I mean, I know I'm like his biggest fan up here, but Phil Foden, man, what a player!
I'm with you on that one, McGinley. I just think he's just, frightening. What I will say though is, listen. We are now, less than a month away from the England game, so we'll be a little bit shorter than that away from the Czech Republic game, which is first. We now need to pray to God that nobody gets injured. There's no knocks. There's no, there was rumours last night that Scott McTominay had taken a knock. But I hope he's okay. Ryan Fraser's in that squad very much as if he's fit, he'll be there. If he's not, fine. I would hope he's fit, a very good option. But, you've got to just hope to God now, Ryan, we don't get any injuries because that could kill us.
No, of course, and I guess the positive thing is the majority of teams only have one game left in their season. Scotland is, of course, done. We're not looking at any playoff candidate players.
Kevin Nisbet's got a game.
Oh, well, yeah, Nisbet's got a cup final. I suppose you look down south, there's only one league game left for the majority of sides in England. Of course, Andy Robertson, I think, still has 2 to play for Liverpool. You've got the cup final. And the Champions League, but I don't think there's Billy Gilmore. I doubt he's going to play in the Champions League final. So look, we're in a very, very good position. And Lewis Laird has just put it brilliantly in the chat. Rest all Scotland players is the message.
I want to see like the biggest thing of cotton wool wrapped around Kieran Tierney this weekend.
Yeah,
Don't let him anywhere near the pitch.
If I was Steve Clark, I would generally be phoning Mikel Arteta.
I'd be taking him hostage. I would be taking him off Mikel Arteta.
What have Arsenal got to play for? I don't think they can.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
They might even get the Europa League because they get pumped out of that.
If I was Kieran, and I know you've got allegiances to your club. I know you do. It's very difficult to say this, and obviously it's different. It's easier said than done. If I was Kieran Tierney, I'd be saying to Mikel Arteta, well, first of all, I'd be saying, look, Mikel, you're not going to be fucking here next year. You're getting right. But if I was Kieran Tierney, I'd be saying to Mikel, look, do me a favour here. Just rest me. Put me in the side. I want to play in this Euros. I don't want to risk it. And I know that these guys love playing their football, but this is as we've seen already, this is a once-in-a-generation sort of thing at the moment. So I would love to see these guys be rested, given the chance to get to these Euros safe and sound. As you said, David, wrap them in cotton wool.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, actually, because we always hear about how clubs expect national teams to do them favours, when it's like friendlies and stuff, guys aren't fully fit. That should 100% be flipped now. For anybody who's got a knock that's not got much to play for, keep them rested. Mctominay is a different case because he's got a European final coming up. But, if that was just a run-of-the-mill league game, you'd be hoping, right, do the decent thing, give them rest. We've also got 2 games before the Euros that we've kind of not really touched upon much yet. We've got the Netherlands and Luxembourg. Which is interesting because the Netherlands game, I think, will give us a very good indication on how we'll set up against England. I think especially that game will kind of show us what Steve Clarke thinks his fully fit team is, his best team, because I think that what we have seen from Clarke in the break so far is he's tried to always kind of go with his strongest team. In the first game of the break. So like last time round, we saw Jack Hendry came in, and that immediately gave the indication he was going to play right at the centre half. Hanley went straight in, so that's an immediate indication that he'll probably play. And then we've not even talked about like Tierney and Robertson in terms of what they'll bring to us, which is another unbelievable, kind of set of players we've got there. Will we play a 3? Will we play a 4? There are so many questions to ask. There's so much content we can do. But it's going to be I think it's going to take ages now. It's going to drag in because I'm just so excited for that first game.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say to Duncan, thank you. I take that as a compliment, me going full Roy Keane. That is what I aim for. If it's not Keane, it's got to be Neville. But what I was going to say, in regards to the content that we can make from now until the beginning of the Euros, I'm hoping that, just a quick address before we get back to talk about football, I'm looking forward to being able to maybe just sit down, make 10-minute videos on the channel and just talk about Scotland and different things. It's going to be fun. I think alongside Scotland being at this national tournament, us as a team here at TFF are going to have a hell of a lot of fun, to say the least.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm glad that we've got a sort of platform for this, that we can do this as well, that we can go live maybe even after the games. I don't know if you will be down there.
Yeah, that's the plan. Well, I mean, listen, there's no fucking chance of me going live after the England game. If I'm still standing, I'll be amazed. But
me and David will be relying on you lot up here to be doing that, because we'll be down there. We'll be having.
We'll be in Hyde Park around an iPhone trying to get live.
That might be while we're down there. I don't know. We still get time.
Oh, listen, it's so mental. You just gotta hope that fucking this Indian variant behaves itself over the next couple of weeks. That's the only thing that could spoil it now. Yeah. So pray to God it doesn't. But yeah, booked up for London. Cannot fucking wait. Because Ryan, I was saying this to Callum Craig yesterday. Yeah. Like, international tournaments are brilliant anyway. I've always loved them. Like watching games on the BBC, loads happening, and like I've always loved them without having Scotland there. This is just gonna be fucking mad.
It was exactly what I was going to open the show with. So every time a national tournament comes round, I've always been rooting for the Germans. The Germans is always the team that I want to see do well. I like supporting Germany. So when Germany's squad came out this morning, I was like, oh, what a team, buzzing. Going to be brilliant to watch them at the Euros. And then the realisation hits you. Yeah. And like, Scotland are at this tournament. Mm-hmm. And I was buzzing. I was like, this is me buzzing off of seeing a German team come out. I'm honestly flabbergasted that we've made it. David, we watched the game together when we did make it. We know our reaction back then, but I am just stunned at the fact we're here and we've had this announcement. It feels all very surreal. And the fact that I can watch a national tournament with the added bonus of my team being there makes it feel like a completely different yet exciting proposition. It's just brilliant. I cannot wait.
Because this is another point I was going to make, McGinley. Us as supporters, we're all just happy to be here. We're happy to be along for the ride. But what I will guarantee is that Steve Clarke will not let the players have the mentality of being there just happy to take part. They'll be wanting to go and win these games. They'll be setting up to really, the same sort of game plan we had in Serbia. We go and we try and win the game. we've all got that in the back of our head. Wales 2016. That's all I keep thinking about. Wales 2016. Yes, I know they had Gareth Bale, right? But see, apart from Gareth Bale, the rest of our squad. But the rest of our squad is stronger than that Wales squad was, by the way. There's that dream in the back of your head that we could do something like that, Ryan. There's actually a possibility we could have a really decent go at this group, for as tough as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely not there to make up the numbers, or that's not what Steve Clarke would be telling his team. I'm looking at that first game against the Czech Republic. I think we can win that. I mean, if we win that, we put ourselves in a great opportunity and a great wee window. For the second game, it would make the England game, I mean, you can't make it more interesting, but it would make it even more important for the fans. Because imagine if we were going into that thinking if we win, we go through to the next round.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy, but you know what? We're there. We're in the hat.
You might not even have to win. A point might be enough. You might get best third place on 4 points.
Yep.
It's such a decent possibility. Yeah, you could get through on 4 points. It's mad. And this is the thing I said yesterday. I think I said it to Callum again after, all I want is a moment. I just want one moment this summer where we are on top of the world. Whether that means, we even if it means we go 1-0 up at Wembley, just give us a moment. That's all I want.
Imagine we were down in London, right? And it was 60 minutes into the game, 0-0, and John McGinn smacks a shot from 30 yards and it hits the top corner. That's what you call a moment. You want something like that. People talk about Archie Gemmill. They talk about his goal. I want an Archie Gemmill moment, whether it be
Faddy in Paris moment.
Yeah, whether it be John McGinn, Kevin Nisbet, fucking Jack Hendry, I don't care. I want a moment like that. I want to be talking about a goal like Archie Gemmill's, a goal like James McFadden, something that we'll remember until, the day we're lying in our caskets.
And I really hope that Gareth Southgate sticks with Jordan Pickford in goal. That would make me very happy if he sticks with Jordan Pickford in goal, because that man is absolutely shite. But you know what I would love? Do you remember James Morrison's goal at Wembley when Joe Hart spilled it? I want something like that. I want something that's really going to fucking be a sickener for them. The wee team coming from down the road for a day out and we just fucking scumbag it. It would just be glorious.
Well, Lewis Laird has made a very interesting point in the chat. Look, Portugal made it through without winning a game. And I don't even think, did they win a game in 90 minutes at that Euros? I'm sure they did.
I don't think they did, no.
They didn't win a single game in 90 minutes, and they went on to lift the European Championships. It was phenomenal to watch. I must admit, because I was a big Ronaldo fan and obviously wanted them to beat France and all the rest of it. It was phenomenal to watch. But that's as easy as you can make these things. I'm not saying we're going to go and win the Euros. Of course not, before people take that a bit out of context.
I am.
I'm not taking
I genuinely think we can get 7 points at this group.
Yeah.
But listen, no. Why the fuck not, though? Listen, it is very unlikely. But why not? It is possible.
The Czech Republic, who are nothing special, unless they've changed something drastically. We've got Croatia, who are an aging team. They'll be having a 35-year-old Luka Modric in the midfield. I know he's still doing a job for Real Madrid, but it's an aging Croatia team. They've sort of went past their sort of peak. I mean, we've got a chance.
England will bottle it too. They will 100% bottle it. They always do. They always do. And I'm already hearing, them talking about how this could be the year again. It started early down there for them. I'm hearing them talking about the squad and all this quality and how good the team that they're leaving at home is going to be. Never mind the team that's going. It suits us down to the fucking ground again.
I think it's the difference of the press between the two of them, because I don't think there's much pressure in the Scotland team. We're just happy to be there. If you look at down south, they are so expectant. They expect us to win this.
Scotland against England is very much a David and Goliath story this summer. That's the way it's been painted out to be. They're painting out Scotland, as David has says, the wee team for up the road. Honestly, the English, the media, the fans, not saying all of them, but the vast majority of them look at Scotland as a Sunday pub team. If we beat England, not only is it a bit of an upset and good for us, it would wind them right up. They would absolutely hate it. And that's the part that I think I love the most. The fact that we can go down the road and leave them fucking bailing and hate. Yeah, I cannot wait for the prospect of doing that.
Yeah.
Iceland done it. Why can't we?
I know. And the thing is, I've seen recently we've seen Scotland go to Wembley with Gordon Strachan in charge and get beat twice. And we had really poor teams compared to what we've got now. But even then, there was the 3-2 game I mentioned earlier. There was a real chance we could have at least drew that game. And that was not a great side in comparison to what we've got now.
You look at the team at Hampden when Griffiths scored the 2 free kicks. That wasn't special.
Crystal Bella was playing.
There was bits of talent in there. I think we had Tierney played that day, didn't he?
He was very young, but he was very young at that point.
Exactly. Tierney was very young. Robertson played. Yeah, we had good players, but you look. I'm sure Barry Bannon was on the park at some point that day.
Don't diss Barry Bannon. I love Barry Bannon.
That's a team that nearly beat England a couple of years ago.
Well, I mean, Armstrong played that day, and Armstrong's better now than he was then, even if you look at it that way. Am I getting there? You go.
Yeah, it's mental that the guy that scored 2 goals isn't in the team, but the guy that gave away the ball that led to the England equaliser is in the
never
team.
in doubt. Yeah.
And Craig Gordon's in there that was in no man's land for Kane's header.
Yeah, and you've also got the England thing where you've got McGinn, McTominay and Armstrong, who have all had very, very good seasons down there playing against these players. You know, I mean, the midfield three for England is Rice, Phillips and I don't know, Mount for argument's sake, against McGinn, McTominay and Armstrong. Now, they've all competed with those three down there regularly and done jobs on them regularly down there. You know, there's going to be a real quiet confidence in our squad that we can really hurt them. Shea Adams as well. You know, there's going to be a confidence there. And you've got the unknown quantities. Like Lyndon Dykes will be an absolute pain in the arse for the English. They will not know how to deal with him because modern day defenders don't like strikers who rough them up. They just don't like it. You see it all the time when big teams play like smaller teams in the FA Cup or whatever. They just don't like it. You know, and it's going to be a different dynamic. There's pace in the team. Oh, we're definitely beating them. I cannot wait.
I never even... Lewis Laird has pointed out something. Chris Martin, Akechi Anya, they were playing that day.
Chris Martin won both free kicks, I'm sure. Chris Martin actually had a class end to that campaign because he ended up scoring important goals. But he was shite, you know, and he was a striker.
That's the kind of quality. We've got Kevin Nisbet now. We've got Che Adams. We've got Lyndon Dykes. And we had Chris Martin at a point up front. Jesus Christ.
I know. Yeah, mad. Absolutely mad. I noticed everyone in the group chat last night, Ryan, was on about buying the retro Scotland tops. Everyone's going to be getting kitted out. It's just going to be class.
Well, I was looking for a kilt hire yesterday. So I'm still looking. I wanted a specific tartan, but I can't seem to find it. So
you're then hoping that you're going to be able to have it in a state that you can give it back after you've hired it.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know what you expect me to get up to in a kilt, right? But it's not going to be in that bad a state. A couple of pints can be washed out.
Yeah, it depends if you're wearing like a proper Scotland and got the ham hose out underneath it or not. You know.
Wow. You know, depends how warm it is.
Yeah, Ryan Fraser. Lewis Red's correcting me. Ryan Fraser won the first free kick. Yeah, wow. Our strikers were unbelievably shit back then. Matthew Duff. Yeah, they weren't great, were they? They were not great. But even then, I believed we could beat them. And even. Oh, geez, we're going to get beat 4-0. No, I'm joking. But it's just like, I'm so excited. There's so much to happen. Anything else you just want to add before we wrap up? I need to get some scan. But I'm amazed. We've got 127 people watching. You know, we should do these lives at this time during the day normally. We get much better viewers. Yeah. Ryan, Dad.
Oh, me?
No,
yeah. Look, I am buzzing. This is it. The Tartan Army are coming down the road, and we're going to win the fucking Euros, boys. We're not going to Wembley once. We're going to Wembley twice. We're going to be in that final at Wembley. Don't you worry about it. Look, listen, I'm buzzing, and it feels like we're properly part of something, and I love that. Just the fact that we're at a national tournament, and the squad has been announced. We've done it in such a magnificent way as well, getting all these people involved. Look. Just bring it on, man. Yeah,
McGinley. I was going to say the battle fever, but we'll keep it. You know, I don't want the Rangers fans getting excited.
I was 1 year old. I was only a year old when we were last at an international tournament.
No, I was -1. He was -2. So
that's it. You haven't even been alive when we were a major tournament. I mean, this is big for all of us. I mean, it's. People talk about all the exploits of past Scotland teams and World Cups and European Championships. But we've got our own now. We've got our own memories to make, and I can't wait for it to get started. I'm absolutely buzzing now. After seeing that team, I'm buzzing.
Yeah, I know. That's really. I'm happy that the squad has got everyone going because it was a real worry that it might not have done. But yeah, delighted. Can't wait till we play Croatia and we're resting players for the round of 16, which will be good. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us. And I watched back yesterday's podcast where we picked what we would have had as our squads. Will there be a podcast tomorrow, Ryan?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Preview the cup final. Last bit of domestic football.
Last bit of, championship playoffs, everything. League One, League, all the playoffs that you can imagine. So yeah, probably have quite an eventful podcast tomorrow. Of course, Div won't be there once more, but we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you all for joining us. If you're new, subscribe, and we will catch you all next time. Cheers.